Hello everyone, how's it going? So I want to start this video up with this. An alarming 87% of retro games are being lost for time. Now, hardware fails. This PlayStation 5 will eventually fail. All hardware eventually fails. So the best way to preserve your game is to put it on platforms like Steam, GOG, definitely like PC platforms, on the internet, which allows people to access these games through an array of ways, such as emulation, through Steam, and if the game doesn't work due to modern day hardware, for example, Manhunt, there are modding communities who are willing to put in the time and effort to make sure the games run effectively so people can enjoy these games. There's also a lot of different problems, such as trying to imitate the hardware that they are issued on into the PC platform, because those obviously aren't meant to be played with a mouse and keyboard. They're meant to play with a controller. But there are a lot of ways that modding communities and people within the PC platform find to try and give people a chance to play these older games. And there are websites such as abandonware websites where you can play games like Croc, which can't be played anywhere else due to licensing rights, which is also another problem, because the games that are not available widespread, such as Rule of Rose or From Software's Echo Knight, you have to get a actual physical copy of the game, which can come up to $100, $200. And again, as games get older, they get more expensive and more valuable. I've seen Pokemon games go up for $200 despite, almost everyone owning them. And companies also play a role in this. Like recently, Nintendo shut down the Switch emulator. There's a great video by Mutahar where he goes into detail about that. But yeah, companies can shut down these projects even if users are trying to keep multiplayer-only games alive through their own private servers. There's always a chance they can shut them down, because at the end of the day, they own the IP. It sucks, but it is the reality of the situation. And when it comes to digital-only games such as the 3DS, Wii U, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, there are online-only games. And once those stores shut down, that's it. You can never get those games again. They're gone forever. And it truly does suck, because, game preservation should be a priority in my opinion. I am a gamer, so I do have, a bias in this. But recently, Warner Brothers decided they are going to delist Adult Swim published titles, which is incredibly disheartening. Now, Warner Bros. Has been on the warpath of recent months because they've been losing a lot of money. They recently shut down Rooster Teeth, and they shelved the Batwoman show, which a lot of people weren't really looking forward to. But regardless, they shelved that show despite the fact that reports have come out that the show was nearly done. And there was also the new Wile E. Coyote movie that they shelved as well. It was so problematic that studios started to refuse to work for Warner Bros. Because why put in all this work and effort into making a film if you're just going to shelve it? So it's becoming increasingly more problematic. And for this, it just gets even more idiotic when you read this article. So let's get into it. Indie devs are being told that their games will retire from Steam and console stores. Warner Bros. Discovery is telling developers that it plans to start retiring games published by its Adult Swim label. Game makers who worked with the publisher tell Polygon. At least 3 games are under threat of being removed from Steam and other digital stores, with the fate of other games published by Adult Swim unclear. Now, there is another way that games get delisted that I should have touched on. It's licensing rights. Like, for example, Transformers Fall for Cybertron, War for Cybertron, Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, Spider-Man Edge of Time. I had to pay like $60, $70 to get those games because the licenses for those games shut down. So instead of renewing those licenses like Activision should have, they decided, you know what, no one's playing these games, so the only way to play those games is through physical editions or, again, emulation. But yeah, this is another way that all of this can transpire. The media conglomerate's planned removal of these games echoes from its film and TV business. Warner Bros. Discovery infamously scrapped plans to release the complete movies of Batgirl and Coyote vs. Acme, removed several series from its streaming service. If Warner Bros. Does go through with the plans to delist Adult Swim games from Steam's and digital console stores, 18 or more games could be affected. News of the Warner Bros. Plan to potentially pull Adult Swim games from Steam and the PlayStation Store was first reported by developer Owen Reddy, who released puzzle action game Small Radios Big Televisions through the label in 2016. Redley said on X Tuesday was being retired by Adult Swim Games owner, who responded to the company's decision by making the Windows PC version of Small Radios Big Televisions available to download for free from its studio's website. That's insane. I don't know the legal ramifications for that. I'm not a lawyer, but if Adult Swim currently owns the IP, can he do that? I'm not really sure. Because I remember when Nintendo shut down the Pokemon Uranium Pokemon Uranium fan game and the another Metroid 2 remake. They basically just gave it away for free. They were like, okay, we'll shut down the site as per Nintendo's lawyers, that you can download the games, but there was nothing stopping them from giving it away to other people to share it through Google Drive and stuff like that. That's essentially what they did. Granted, there is a risk to that because there are people who hide malicious code in those drives, so you can end up getting a Trojan virus, ransomware, so buyers beware. A lot of people use virtual machines to bypass this stuff, but I've heard through cybersecurity channels that that's also going to start to become a problem as well. I don't know. I keep up with that stuff because I'm afraid, and you kind of have to be aware of this stuff if you want to be better protected. Polygon reached out to other developers who worked with Adult Swim Games as a publisher. 2 studios responded to say they received similar warning from Warner Bros. Discovery, but they're still in the dark about what it means for their games. Developer Michael Mortenia, who released Song Dodger Plus through Adult Swim's games in 2013, told Polygon he received a warning from Warner Bros. Discovery rep earlier this week that his game will be removed from Steam within the next 60 days. Again, this is just like taking a sledgehammer to everything. Like, these are the same people who are like, we're going to double down on live service games like Suicide Squad and not invest money into the massively successful Hogwarts Legacy, which sold over 20 million copies, even beating Call of Duty. If you have a game that beat Call of Duty in sales, that is a green light of that's what you should do. And Suicide Squad literally is hemorrhaging players. They have less than 1,000. So I think it's only a matter of time before this idiot gets fired, or the people making these decisions, because this is not going to make you money in the long term. This is just like literally the Activision Blizzard result of like lay off a bunch of people, cut a lot of stuff, and maybe we'll make back our money by, I don't know, trying to shield to the lowest common denominator, because live service games are dead. Like, people have already invested their time into 1 or 2 live service games. Opening a brand new one, like they trying to do with Multiverses right now, they're trying to bring that back after the beta ended, and now they're bringing it back. I think a lot of people forgot about it. It's not going to end well. Like, it's going to be terrible, but they're pulling an Embracer Group right now, it seems. I don't know if they're delisting or deleting it. Montalio told Polygon in an email, I pleaded with a rep to transfer ownership to the company. That is where I was really annoyed with. As I still retain all IP game rights. Oh, so the people who developed the game own the IP game rights. Okay, that makes a little more sense. I sent them a link to the game's Steam transfer page. I explained clearly what it takes to literally 3 clicks to transfer ownership to me. He rejected my request. Yeah, if that sounds incredibly stupid, it is. The way I see this is that they're thinking this like a business decision. They're going to delist the games, but retain ownership of it so they can re-release the games at a later date in some sort of bundle. Like, companies do that all the time. They keep the IPs like, a dragon holding his gold, so one day they can release the IPs in some sort of remastered edition. And yeah, that's what I'm looking at this as a business decision. They don't want to let go of that gold, even if it's like gold that they don't need anymore. They want to, it's just utterly stupidity. Just give it back to them if you're not going to do shit with it. Montalio said Warner Bros. Discovery representative said the decision not to transfer ownership back to the developers stems from logistical and resource constraints. It takes 3 clicks. What resource click? Like, is your finger broken or something? This is a good way of saying, this is like a business way of saying, fuck off. That's what I say. And the limited capacity of our team. Yeah, literally, it just says fuck off. It's like, we're not doing it, screw off. This is we're not going to help you at all. That's the business. This is the polite business way of saying that. One developer Polygon spoke to said the current Adult Swim's game team consists of a skeleton crew. Even with a skeleton crew, he literally said it takes 3 clicks. I'm not a developer. I don't know that, but I'm going to take his word for it. Montelio expressed frustration that WBT plans to remove the removal of his game and others would lead to over a decades of downloads, community guides, reviews, and patch notes suddenly vanishing. According to Montelio, Warner Bros. Discovery informed him that he's allowed to republish Sound Dodger on Steam, but that option presents its own issues. Doing so would erase all my wishlist reviews, community guides, and formal discussions, along with not allowing new and old owners of the game to compare achievements and trading cards. So yeah, he would basically be screwing over his entire community of people who've played this game. And yeah, if it takes 3 clicks, just give it to them. And it sounds like they just don't want to do it. They're like being super freaking lazy. They're like, oh, you could publish the game again. And he's just like, why can't you just give me the rights to my game then? Like, he's absolutely right to be annoyed about this. This is complete BS. So you can publish the game yourself, but you're not unwilling to give him ownership. Because the way I see it, again, it's just a business decision to try and hoard wealth at this point. The other legal requirement for republishing the game itself, myself, is to remove any and all mention of Adult Swim games, Montelio says. I asked for a re-clarification, and he wants to credit sequence altered to remove the names of Adult Swim games team. I'm a huge supporter of game preservation, and this is a direct blow to properly crediting the people that worked on a game. Yeah. Matt Ludonsky, I'm just going to call him Matt. Matt, co-owner of studio Team 2-Bit, the developer behind the Adult Swim game published Fist Puncher, told Polygon that he'd also been contacted by Warner Bros. Discovery with a similar warning. Matt said that the rep blamed the impending removal of Fist Puncher on internal business changes. We requested that they transfer Fist Puncher back to the studio. Matt said their response was that they cannot transfer the game to the fact that they made the decision not to transfer ownership due to logistical and resource constraints. Yeah, fuck off. Matt and Team 2-Bit remains hopeful that WB Studio Discovery will give Fist Puncher back to the studio. I doubt it. Like, at this point, they're just being lazy, pretentious, and genuinely just assholes. It's been out for 11 years and we built a community around it through Steam, he said. We also had an incredible experience working with Adult Swim games over the years. In the original team that helped us get Fist Puncher on Steam was passionate about elevating interest in unique games from our small studio. That said, if we don't get the current release of Fist Puncher transferred over to us, then we will likely re-release it under our own account. We still own the game and the IP, so re-release is certainly possible. As someone who's passionate about preserving game history, I hate to see any game get lost to corporate red tape. Yeah, it just sounds like these people are being truly aggravating for the sake of no reason. Like, they're literally telling these companies to fuck off when they asked a very legitimate question and a very reasonable request. If you're going to delist the game, just give us back all rights to it. Oh, we can't do that because our team is stretched thin. What do you mean? You can't do 3 clicks? Just, if they're, like they said, how many games are on this list? 18, I believe they said. Yeah, 18 more games. So they can't get one person to do this for 18 games? I found that incredibly disturbing. That said, if we don't... Oh, yeah, I read that. Polygon reached out to 10 studios and solo developers who develop their games published by Adult Swim Games to see what they've heard. Some say they haven't been contacted by WB Discovery, but they expect to. From what I've heard from others, I will probably be hearing from them soon. Developer Andrew Morris, who published Kings Away and Super Puzzle Platform and Deluxe to Adult Swim, told Polygon it's not looking good. Montelio said that if and when the game Sound Dodger is pulled from Steam, he'll republish it with as little downtime as possible between the 2 versions. The game is also available from Montelio's itch page. As a side, I'm beyond delighted I could self-publish Sound Dodger 2, yada yada, okay. So yeah, this is basically just BS at this point. I don't know who the frick is running Warner Bros. Right now, but it seems that this company is on the downtread, just going to crater at some point, because the decisions they're making is just utterly stupidity. Like, I'm not an executive at $1 billion corporation, but from a layman's perspective, what the fuck are you doing? You're doubling down on projects that barely make any money for short-term profit. You're shelving projects that have incredible promise. I'm not talking about bad one, but a lot of people were looking forward to the Wile E. Coyote movie. And on top of it, you're like resetting your DCU with a brand new team, brand new, system, and you're shutting down all these companies. Like, what are you doing? What is your plan? like, what are you thinking? You're completely ignoring massive successes, and you're going in the direction of what? Short-term gain, which never lasts. It will plummet, and it will destroy your company. I don't know what the frick they're doing, but I'm just really annoyed by the fact that these developers have to go through all these hurdles, and there's a chance they may lose their game entirely. I don't know if all the developers retain rights to their IPs. Really hope so that they do, but the fact they're making all these hurdles is just traumatic for these developers who spent years cultivating their audience, creating their game, all this stuff. Either way, tell me what you think about this below. I think it's utter garbage. Game preservation is essential to ensuring how we look at games going forward, how they've evolved, how they've changed, and a lot of people are going back to classic games nowadays because of the way that modern gaming is. Yes, you do get games like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, despite its new game plus controversy, which is still BS, and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. We get Dead Space Remake. We've had what else? Octopath Traveler 2. So many great games, but at the same time, modern gaming, we also have like things like Skull and Bones, which was just a massive flop. Suicide Squad, another massive flop. We've had so many of these titles that a lot of people just go back to classic games. And just seeing this really breaks my heart, because there are games that require a lot of preservation, like situations, because there's no other way to play them other than, going through massive, like, purchasing requirements, buying hardware that costs you an arm and a leg. The game itself can go up to $100. And then there's also the idea of doing things unethically in order to get access to these games. Like, people will give you money if you just make the game available through platforms like Steam. They will give you money. Just put Echo Knight on Steam. People will give you money. It's just like, yeah. Either way, tell me what you think. Like, dislike, your choice. And that's it from me. Bye.